ouch. The coffee is pouring. Do you smell it? I smell it. It's really...
Coffee.
Yes, a new blend for this morning, for this Thursday.
I'm still on hazelnut. I'm sorry, I bought that can at the store. It was on sale.
Those are the best blends. The sale one.
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes. Hey, everybody, come on in. Oh, wait a minute. Let's run this. Good morning, everybody. Come on in. Good morning.
Comics are awesome.
Comics are awesome. Are you there? Come on in. Glenn Fleming is already in the house. Glenn, how you doing? We're going to have you back on here one of these days real soon. So we need to talk more. Glenn, you're welcome aboard. Thanks for coming on, or thanks for being in the chat. We're still caffeinating up, folks. We almost have a full house already. But come on in. Glenn says, okay. Absolutely, Glenn. I still have yet to look at that PDF file. I've been so slammed with work. I think I printed a couple hundred shirts yesterday. Still not done.
Dangers of being a one-man army.
That's what it is. That's exactly what the dangers of being a one-man army and having your equipment go south all of a sudden. You got to sit there and figure everything out, get it back up to working speed, and then catch up. So I'm in catch-up mode now. Glenn says, ha. He's laughing at me. What's up, Glenn? Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Hit that like button. We see you out there watching. In fact, I got to jump over to my wonderful Facebook page again.
Likes and share are greatly appreciated.
There we are. We are public. Come on in, everybody. We have lots to talk about. We have lots to not talk about. It's all good. Hopefully, in a few, we'll be adding guests as we go along today. I've already got a couple of people asking for links. It's like, well, we'll have you on a little bit. Welcome, everybody. This is the Indie Volt Breakfast Buzz. It's Thursday morning where we are. We hope you're having a good day, morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are all throughout the world. We want to say hello to all of our Indie Volt radio listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. Come on in. The chat is open. If you're on Facebook or can get to us on Facebook under Indie Volt, Varian Grant, myself, Randy Zimmerman, or Indie Princess, I believe, or Krista Grant. We're all there are ramps in there to get you up and into the chat. So come on in. Come on in. It's the Breakfast Buzz. We're going to run our opening, but we're still going to keep pouring the coffee. Here we go. Hang on here. We'll just run it. Here we go.
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
How dare you?
Come on in. Thursday, the 8th of October. We have people in the house. We're going to stop pouring coffee now that Scott's back in the house.
Yeah, my God. Let's get this party started.
Our God, here we go. Boom. There we are. Oh, my goodness.
Well, Andy, I just don't know what we're going to do about this.
Come on in, everybody. Welcome to the Breakfast Buzz. Got to nip it in the bud.
And before we start, I want to say, hey, Joe, that's a pretty ambitious coffee cup you got there. It's more like a mug, isn't it? I mean, that's a pretty tall.
What? This,
got that all
this thing
filled
here?
up?
Yeah, this is a glass of tea.
Glass of tea?
Yeah, this is what I normally drink
Mugga.
every morning.
Mug. Is that one of those refill Wesco mugs, those gas station mugs?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I go into our. You guys got Wesco's over in that side of the state, don't you? Oh, okay.
No,
Anyway,
I'm actually in Chicago, so I don't know what's going on.
You're talking Vestco, VESTO or VESTCO, Vestco?
No, Wesco.
No.
Oh, is that? Anyway, local gas station chain around here in West Michigan, and they offer these huge sons of bitches mugs that are, you can take a bath in the damn things, and you see guys go in there every day to fill these things up, and good God, me, I prefer my old Red Lobster glass of whiskey. That's what I like. No,
that's an awesome glass.
Isn't that glass? Isn't that great?
Yeah,
I love those things.
Looks like a rook from a chess piece.
Yeah. I got about
Castle Tower thing. Yeah, got the whiskey running already.
I'll say it's whiskey and leave it at that.
Starting early. Yep. Welcome everybody. There's the magic Bing.
Yep, I gotta deal with that right now.
Come on in, everybody. Have a seat. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're listening to us at Indie Volt on YouTube. We have we think we have Varian in the house. Mr. Grant.
Live from Casket Cam.
From Casket Cam. Krista just stuck a set of earphones on him and said, talk. You can talk, right?
Is she still running her? Is she still running her spot on Wednesday?
Whenever she can. Yeah, we didn't do it this Wednesday though, so we didn't do it yesterday.
Listen, guys, you gotta understand something. You guys gotta make sure that if I have to be buried, don't let Lola run the show. Not this show. I'm talking about the funeral. Listen, I don't know if I like some of her traditions, some kind of traditions. Okay, I've been to a couple funerals. They send the body out like a piñata, like they put all kind of stuff in the casket, stuff that you like Reese cups and like a couple scratch off tickets in your pocket. Like that money's gonna do me any good.
Oh my God!
So I normally end up with pencils. I don't want to share the afterlife with a box of Marvel comics or even a couple of them next to me. Just there'll be all kind of stuff put in there with me.
We'll do our best to make sure you don't end up as a giant party favor. We'll do our best.
Imagine what future humans will say if they dig me up. Oh, this one must have been weird. Look at it. He's buried with expensive candies. Expensive, they'll say. Expensive candies. Royalty.
He must have.
The all too rare Reese's cup. Yes. The all too rare. The all too rare monster drink. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
He had to have been somebody special. Just because I haven't been here in several months. Joe, fill me in a little bit. I don't know if you know about me, but I'm,
Well, see, we have a radio audience. We should all introduce ourselves. Hello, everybody. This is Indie Volt Radio. This is the BrEaKfAsT BuZz on the Indie Volt channel. So welcome aboard. I am your host, Randy Zimmerman. I am a longtime independent and alternative comics creator. I've done everything in the comics market that you can probably dream of, and I have done it for many years. So, and we're here to talk comics. We're here to catch up and drink coffee and have some fun. Hopefully, do a little bit of lightheartedness and see what we can see. And I've got a group of friends with me today. My the immediate person down to my lower right here is Varian Grant, who normally hosts the show. Only he's not feeling 100% this morning. Varian, how you doing? Introduce yourself if you can.
Hello, everybody. I'm Varian Grant, founder of Indie Volt. I'm back down, laid out again, but I have a doctor's appointment, so I'm gonna keep wearing my trademark smile. I'm not gonna be here that much longer on the show. I just popped in to cause trouble because that's what I do. So they can't stop me. I mean, try.
Accomplished.
Can't stop you. Yeah.
I want to come in and cause trouble and see it and say hello to everyone. Let everybody know that I am doing okay. I know I haven't been on camera in a little while, but it's proof of life. I'm hanging in there. I'm being told that I need to be bathed. So
It's time to go.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that happening.
Nice, get that cleaned up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sponge
Bring
bath.
that coming to America moment.
Sponge bath.
Sponge bath away, my friend. You take care of
all right.
yourself. All right.
All right, you guys
We'll
take
be-
it easy.
We'll be looking for you on Facebook. We'll be looking for updates.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys have a great show. I'll let everybody in the chat. I see that Trico. You're not getting that DVD anywhere near me. If they cremate me, they can burn the DVD in it with it. All right, you guys have a good show.
All right, Varian, you take care.
Take care.
I'm also joined by two. Let me switch the ratio there back to normal. Joined by a couple of co-hosts this morning. Mr. Scott Rosema, how you doing?
We're doing good.
Nine Realms Comics is stunned. He thought he heard you in the background, and he's happy that you're here. Scott Rosema is here.
He was reverberating around his studio with with hearing my voice.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. Scott Roosevelt, a longtime professional freelancer, Marvel, DC, Disney, Warner Brothers, Valiant, Archie, all kinds of comics and companies worked for over the years. I've known Randy for a long time. We did a few things with his old Arrow Comics outfit, and currently just still freelancing, doing a bunch of fun stuff on my own, and just keep carving away. Working in the trenches like a lot of us out there. So happy to be here, and everybody be forewarned. I'm a chatty Cathy of the highest order, and a goofball from way back. So. Don't take me too seriously. You'd be better off if you don't.
Glenn says, "Hey guys, hey Glenn. Like we said, we'll have you on here real soon." Okay. He's laughing at us again. And wait until you see the Kirby film. I can't wait to see the Kirby film, Glenn. If you've missed our previous broadcast, we had Glenn on last Sunday morning for the Sunday Funnies program. Glenn is from Manchester, England, and he's written a lot of books. He had the pleasure of spending an afternoon, really, with Jack and Roz Kirby.
Oh, no kidding!
That he took film, wrote a book about it. He did up a documentary a few years ago about it because it was
he actually
obviously a few years ago.
He actually did mean the Kirby then. That was
yeah. He had they had him in and talked to him and fed him and. Talked a lot of comics and philosophy and
lucky guy.
Things. Yeah. He's got a book out. He's got quite a few books. That's Glenn Fleming, Glenn Fleming. That you can find him over. That's FLEMING. Find him over on Amazon. He's got a bunch of varying subjects that he's written books on. He currently does Comics Unlimited magazine. That's really almost like a book that's filled with different articles, almost like the old Starlog comic scene.
Oh, wow.
From way back when, a little nicer, really nice production work on it. It's real professional looking. It's a great looking book. If you get a chance to pick that up, do pick that up. Glenn's re-editing and updating the documentary, the Kirby bit of footage that he's done, and he's hoping to have that out right at the start of the year.
Gotcha. So now on to Joe here.
Also, yes, absolutely. Sorry, Joe. Also with us today is Joe D. McPhee.
I'm just here for the education.
Introduce yourself.
Okay, I am Joe D. McPhee. I am the president of Exigency Studios. I am the creator of Amazonia, AWF, and Primetime Saturday Night, based out of here in Chicago, Illinois. And pretty much this is the first time I actually met Scotty. He was asking, what am I about and everything. And pretty much I'm a comic book writer, not so good of an artist, but more of a writer per se here, and been the editor-in-chief of Exigency Studios for about 10 years now.
Okay, now and the name of the studio is what again?
Exigency Studios.
Exigency Studios.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Where does that Exigency Studio?
Yes. Well, the actual word exigency is spelled EXIGENCY. It's meaning urgent demand, that type of thing.
Okay. Wow. Nice. That's a great.
I just dropped the E from the very beginning, and kind of like that whole X-Men vibe, quote unquote X-Men vibe.
Gotcha. Excellent. Yeah, I haven't been here for a few months, so I'm going to be doing a lot of catch up with anybody else that comes in I don't quite recognize. So, pardon me as I put you on my list of people to look up and keep following. So,
no, that's not a problem because, like I said, we're up and coming. I'm still learning because one of the things that I do is like I don't mind making mistakes and I don't mind learning from them. And those mistakes that I do make, I learn a great deal from. So,
well,
trust me, for over a decade. So.
Yeah, those
right.
don't stop happening. Unfortunately, I can count on at least 2 a day for me.
Always learning, always making mistakes.
Always. Yeah.
John Celestri says, "Good morning, all." John, hopefully you will be joining us here in a few minutes. Have you ever met John Celestri,
John.
Scott?
No, I don't think I don't recognize the name.
You are in for a treat.
Oh,
he has a couple of crowdfunding campaigns now. I think he's shut the one on Indiegogo is expired, but he's still got one running over on Kickstarter called John the Animator Comics.
Oh,
and he's doing kid comics, or really all ages comics. But John's been in the animation business longer than what we've been in the comic business.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And hopefully he'll be joining us here in just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I love his icon. It's got that old barbershop quartet look.
Oh, that's what he looks like in real life.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. You'll know him when you see him. You'll know I recognize you from your icon. That's how that'll go. Trico says, being a one-man army and having your equipment go south, but enough about Randy's sex life. Hush.
Oh, wow.
Hush. That was a deep one.
Wow. Taking the deep this early in the morning. Wow.
Yeah. Trico's swinging.
Yeah. And thanks, Trico, for reminding me. We do need to run this as we do every show now. The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of IndieVolt Media, LLC, and do not reflect the official policy or position of any guest or sponsors. Viewer discretion is advised. Absolutely.
I'm not even sure I can subscribe to that because I think so much of this is exactly what I think is.
Well, we have to subscribe to it, and we also have to post the fact that we are TVMA DLSV. Kids, we might be saying words you might not want to hear, or your parents might not want you to be hearing. So
yeah. So back to never mind.
Back to
back off.
Everyone out there, hit that like button, subscribe to IndieVolt. If you're on the YouTubes, we have an IndieVolt channel over there where we archive all of this madness. Not really madness. That's not really us. That's Pops. Pops is the madness. Pops of Van Zant. Hope Pops is doing all right this morning. Just the craziness. All of the old, all of the IndieVolt podcasts that you see here are all archived over at the IndieVolt channel and also over at the Roku channel, as well as a lot of them, not all of them, but the majority of them.
Awesome. Well, for those of you on the radio, you may not be able to see this, but personally, right now, I'm a bit fascinated by Joe's background. I see a dresser with what looks like a pile of discarded writings. This huge pile of papers. Am I seeing that correctly, Joe, or just
that's old Bill? Old paid bill.
Old paid bill. Okay.
I was like, what writing did you? The old paid bills.
I'm surprised I didn't recognize those as unpaid bills. I have a similar pile myself.
I have a sheet up so you can't see anything that or most anything back behind me and my spiral rack. So
and I know the sheet behind you was what probably Monica's idea, right?
No, it's just because there's so much clutter back there.
Gotcha.
Right now I've got shirts and long boxes and just craziness.
I got all my drawing and painting tables behind me.
It's bad enough you can look over my shoulder here and see some of the comics, I believe, back there. Yeah. I think there's a long box sticking up back there.
But I love the old spinner rack, and of course with the Yoda head on top, which is something everybody can just picture because that's exactly what Randy's about.
It's a stuffed Yoda, yeah. We had a Viking helmet on him at one point, but he changes hats now.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Depending.
I know Susie, my wife. Those of you who don't know, she still cherishes that it was a Yoda figure you got for her. It was
Groot. It was a Groot cup.
Oh,
baby Groot cup from the theater. back when they had theaters.
Oh,
Anyway.
she just loved that. She has it, in a place of honor in the house.
Yeah, it was a sweet piece.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
so
I thought about buying two. So, but I got just to have one.
It was
like, oh, that's pretty cute. Yeah. John says good morning. Glenn Ford says good morning. Again, Nine Realms says I feel Varian's humph name. Yeah. There's a reason there. It says I'm putting a copy of The Howling in the casket. Yeah, Varian is very anti-werewolf.
Oh, Varian doesn't like werewolves?
No, not at all.
Oh, I love werewolves. Oh my gosh, I thought you and I were on the same page with that. Oh,
Rex Gordon says okay.
Love you. My editor would love
who would?
My editor.
Oh, really?
The person that edits my books would love you because she has a passionate love for werewolf stories.
Oh God, love them.
There you go.
Actually, one of the latest things I'm working on is a seasonal piece for a collector, where I'm doing this really huge drawing where he wanted me to do all of the Universal monsters together.
Oh, cool.
Halloween piece. So I got
awesome.
Lugosi, Dracula, Lon Chaney, Wolfman, Karloff, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Headless Horseman, the Invisible Man. I mean, all these, and it's just this classic castle, cemetery, spooky woods type setting. It's just, just a blast to work on. And of course, I put Lon Chaney's Wolfman really up front, main thing, because that was, that was my preference. So, I just love this stuff.
Brian K. Moritz is in the house. Good morning, everyone, and all. Randy.
Brian.
Good morning, Brian. Randy's right. You have a radio audience, so be sure to smile brightly. Yes.
There's Brian's grasp of the obvious again. That is so incredible.
I always remind people that we all have faces made for radio anyway, so it's all good.
I guarantee it.
Marv's in the house. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you, V. Be well soon. Yep. Marvy, good to hear from you. Thanks for listening. Thanks to everybody for listening.
We're all pushing for Varian.
Nine Realms says, love you, Varian. Get well. Glenn says Varian needs to watch some werewolf movies. Glenn Ford.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just to what? Scare the heck out of him?
Oh, I tell you.
Daphne Lage says, good morning. Have to do adulting, so I'll catch everyone next week. Hope so, Daphne.
Okay. Wow.
You're always welcome on the
adulting, Daphne. I love how you do it.
She's dealing with handyman and house problems. So, I know how that goes. It took me a couple of weeks just to get the bathroom sink unclogged. I mentioned on Sunday, I think it was.
Oh, I'd love to have one of those.
Mentioned on Sunday, there's just some things you have to leave up for the professionals, and the older you get, the more you realize that's what professionals are for. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's plumbing and accounting. So,
I don't even touch those two.
Don't touch either one of them.
Susie, she's the real number cruncher between the two of us.
Yeah.
So, and luckily I got a nephew who's a plumber, so he handles all that for me. So that's good.
Oh, well, I believe that was a spam text there. Martina looking for a little action.
Well, really? That one.
Forward comments aren't showing up, Randy. Glenn, they're here now. I don't know where you're commenting. Let me check here. You are your comments are on my Facebook and they are showing up in the chat, Glenn. So I think you're good.
Glenn, you got to realize comments that are worth showing show up.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Martina apologizes and said she bought every Archie comic as a kid. Sorry,
wow. Awesome.
Jumped to conclusions that I shouldn't have. Sorry. But I also posted your phone number and I shouldn't have, and I apologize for that. So I have many doctor and specialist friends, and I want to research how to help. I appreciate that, Martinez. I'm sorry that I posted that number. Hope that doesn't bring you any pain.
I'm glad you enjoy those. I mean, what I'm known for is doing Space Ghost for Archie. So unfortunately, I can't claim drawing Jughead or Veronica or anybody like that. But certainly, I worked for Archie doing that and a few other things. But yeah, they're great. They're great.
Oh, Glenn said he visited Kirby twice. Yep, the Kirby.
Oh, that's I cannot wait to see that. I mean, Kirby is. I mean, you can't even count how invaluable Kirby was to the whole industry. He was the industry. I mean, my God, that jump started it all for us.
Daphne says, oh, she said good morning. She has adulting to do. Yep. Catch you all next week. Ralph says yawn. Good morning. Good morning, Ralph. Good morning. Brian says good morning.
All right.
Alfie Fruin says, are you on Stitcher? No, we are not. We are on Twitch. We are on Facebook.
What is Stitcher?
It's another social platform.
Oh, okay.
Pops in the house. What's up, man? This is watching. Good to hear from you, Pops. Nice to know you're around.
The comic book macho man.
Brian Langley said Rob Zombie would love that piece.
Oh, the one I'm working on. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a real watermark for me. It's just gonna be, and it's 24 inches tall, 40 inches long. It's
holy crap! It's big.
Awesome.
Yeah, plenty of room to play. No Marv doubt. Says, catch you later. Day job. Be safe and have fun. Marv, take care. Have a good day.
Have fun.
Have fun. Glenn says, well, I can't stay either. It's got a review to shoot, and then it's bedtime for him. Glenn's on a third shift schedule, but he does toy reviews.
Oh, okay.
I want to say Ionicus toy review.
Awesome.
Stench in the house. Stench,
yes,
how you doing?
Stench.
Whackbacker. Stench, you Whackbacker, how you doing?
I love that name. Yeah. Long time friend of the show.
No, we had him on Tuesday.
Oh,
just out of the blue, he started contributing in the chat, and we said, "Well, why don't you come in?" So he came in, and we learned all about. Well, not all about him, but we learned a little bit about him. He's from Norway.
Oh, no kidding!
He's Norwegian, and he draws. And he showed us some artwork after the show was done. Has an incredible style. It's just does a lot of great stuff.
I have some of his country in my bloodline.
As an Ionicus toy review on YouTube and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, Glenn, we just might tune in on that.
Yeah.
What do you think? At least I might. I don't know about else, but
Sten says he just ate breakfast in the afternoon. We're just eating breakfast in the morning, Sten, so it's all good.
Yep.
We have John the animator in the green room. We're going to bring him in.
Breakfast is always good as long as it. Stench, before you leave, what did you have for breakfast?
Let us know what you're eating, Stench.
Yeah, let me salivate a little bit. Not that it takes much. I salivate on the chime of a bell.
We're all riding on that artist hump.
Yes. That camel-like protrusion we claim is this.
I tell everybody, if I didn't have a wife who made me get out and walk once a day, I'd be twice as big as I am now. Since says water and bread, prison cuisine. We're sorry to hear about your stretch, Stinch.
Yeah. Well, what kind of bread though is it? I mean, whole grain, 7. Who knows?
It can't be prefab white bread like we have here.
Oh yeah, I hope not.
Can it? Is it?
I mean, how many days stale? 5 days, 10 days, 14 days.
You got to get that 4-day stale because it's just the right consistency that soaks up the water but doesn't get soggy.
Just before the mold fermentates and starts going green, then it's at that extra tang.
I'm tempted to pull up the old Monty Python skit. Water and bread, luxury. You got water. Oh, there's the icon.
Yep.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning, Randy. How you doing?
Real good, buddy. We have John the animator in the house. John, introduce yourself to the radio audience.
My name is John Celestri. I'm John the animator. I've been an animator for about 45 years back since the mid-'70s, about 1975.
Wow.
Started. That was my first gig on Tubby the Tuba, an animated film back in New York City.
Oh, no kidding.
So, yeah. So I've animated in
I was going to say, for all of our lucky people who are out there watching us on video, the farther along John goes and gives his resume, watch Scott's eyes grow.
Oh, wow. I guarantee it.
I animated on I started on Tubby the Tuba, switched assisted on Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Oh, wow.
I animated Boba Fett in the Star Wars Holiday Special. I animated on Rock and Rule, on Dragon's Lair, Space Ace,
Oh my God.
on He-Man and She-Ra. Did a bunch of animated commercials, Batman animated commercials in back in the 80s, in 1988 and 89. And so, yeah, so I've done a lot. I've done a fair
Oh my God.
Love that reaction.
We can, frankly, Randy, you guys can just leave because John and I are going to dominate the entire show. I have got so many questions. I've got so many things I want to ask him.
Well, you go ahead and start talking to John, and I'm going to pull up his Kickstarter here.
Well, John.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a kind of one of those psychic vampires. I'm going to suck you dry of information and
please don't clip that. Anybody who's listening, please don't.
No.
and total information. So now we're talking. You've worked with. So are you talking? You worked with Richard Williams, the animator?
Oh yeah, he directed the Raggedy Ann and Andy.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And I was a supervising assistant animator on that.
Okay.
So I had my own team, but I worked on and I would work on a section with a particular animator to just make sure that his drawings conformed to the model sheets. And
wow.
I had about an 8-person team with me to work on that.
Unbelievable. Now, how long was the working schedule for getting it done?
Well, I worked on it from about April until the end of December, and but for those back then, see, there weren't a lot of feature films done outside of Disney.
Sure. Yeah.
Back in then. So actually, Raggedy Ann and Andy was probably the second time a feature film was actually done in New York City.
Oh yeah, that was I mean, Richard and his, from what I understand, really worked really hard to carve out their place within that feature and animated feature film, genre. So
back then, when he was doing it, he took over he was known for doing commercials in England.
Oh,
he had his studio in Soho. So they were doing a lot of extremely high quality commercials, using various heavily rendered on a drawing and anatomy but all kinds of experimental stuff back then.
Oh, sure. Well, Richard's his Christmas Carol that he produced. I mean, did that ever get finished?
Well, you're talking about the Christmas Carol he got an Academy Award for that, I believe. He got that, but that is that's about 1971.
Oh, it's yeah.
So, and he built his studio, bringing back all the old animators. He would plow money into from what they made from the commercials. He'd plow back into doing his Thief and Cobbler feature film. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
So he had all of the classic animators, the whole all of the masters like Grim Natwick, Art Babbitt in particular.
Oh no!
Emery Hawkins, all kinds of old Disney animators and Warner Brothers animators and Fleischer animators, onto that. But he brought them back in. I mean, so there were a lot of people my age working on his feature. I'm saying me as my age now.
Sure.
That.
Well,
somebody's calling.
He dominated the animation field in New York for a long time.
Well, he didn't do feature film.
Advertising and commercial.
Yeah, advertising was England. He had This is what he did. he had an incredible schedule that I don't think anybody could ever duplicate because it's crazy. He didn't want to shut down his studio in London to do the feature film, so he had that still going. They were still doing film, commercials in London. There was an animation studio, so there was a studio. The main studio for Raggedy Ann and Andy was in New York City because that's where Bob's Merrill was.
Okay.
And that they own the rights to Raggedy Ann and Andy. But he also had a studio in Los Angeles where had most of the older animators were there. Okay, so he took in everybody. It really sucked in everybody that was available because back then there was not a lot of talent. I mean, in terms of the entire animation community, and I talk about inkers, animators, inkers, layout people. In New York City, there was maybe about 350 people. In Los Angeles, it was maybe about 800 people, 850 people in the union there. So there was not a lot of talent. So that enabled us. What he brought into New York City was all of the young Turks, the young people that were, really up and coming.
Sure.
And people didn't go to school very much for animation then. There was only two schools: Sheridan in Oakville, in Toronto, and in CalArts in Los Angeles.
Well, Richard himself must have been he was a school unto himself.
Well, that's what it did. Yes, we did, and that's basically how you learned. You learned in the apprenticeship method.
Oh,
we're getting a bit of an echo.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
John,
okay,
is that you?
let me go get my earplugs.
Fine. Well, we'll catch everybody up on the chat in the meantime. So Glenn Ford says, well, I can't stay. Had review. Stinch said,
we're further along.
Water and bread. We've been through that. Glenn Fleming says, hey, John. Stinch says, fine toasted baguettes. I'll be out of this broke because of comics hole next week. We've all been there, Stinch. We all know exactly where you're talking.
We do indeed.
John the Animator. Do you still animate on a animation table?
One of the
yes. Let's see. Can I turn this over?
You sure can.
Okay. Here that. See that?
There it is.
There it is.
Yes, sir.
There it is.
Excellent.
And
absolutely.
That's my desk, and that's well. First off, Randy, how's my sound now?
You're fine. You're absolutely good, John.
Okay, so that's where I do all my drawing.
Oh,
John,
I do either animation or my comic books on that.
Wow.
But I draw on. I still draw, and I don't use ink. I clean up with pencil, and then I scan everything in and put it into a high contrast, adjust the contrast, and I get a clean line, which is an animation line.
Sure, exactly. Isn't that what didn't Disney start doing on the Robin Hood feature?
They had. That was 101 Dalmatians.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That was that's what they used first. Xerox. The first time they used Xeroxed drawings.
Yes. Wasn't there's a gal, Star something or another. She was the head Xeroxer for, I think, Hanna-Barbera, wasn't she? She did all that.
He's not going to know everybody, John.
No, I'm sorry. No. I never worked for Hanna-Barbera. I worked for Ruby and Spears.
Oh, okay.
And I worked for Don Bluth, and Filmation.
Mm-hmm.
On Ruby Spears, did you happen to touch anything with Fundar?
No. I was on Turbo Teen.
True. Okay. Yeah.
And on
one more question. I won't dominate this one, but one more question, John. Yeah. Richard Williams.
Just one.
It's just one. with Richard Williams, was he as much of a monster drawer as it said he was? I mean, the guy he was a machine.
Yeah, and so I have a personal thing. I cleaned up a scene of his on Raggedy Ann and Andy, but he also gave me something to animate, and he had to catch a flight back to London, or he was going either one way or the other, and he had me stand in front, look over his shoulder as he animate the scene in 2 hours. And he was just saying, okay, he did straight ahead stuff. He had a very rough. So now remember, we're talking about doing a bunch of what's the word? Straight ahead animation, and no timing charts. Just knowing that from this frame to this frame, this is what was going to happen. And so he went and did that. He numbered his drawings, but I had to then watch him. He said, now pay particular attention to what I'm doing. And so that's what I had to do. And so I'm watching everything I'm saying. He said, now this is what you do here. This is what you do there. This is what we're happening here with I want him to flap his, it's the camel with the wrinkly knees that has to step over. And Raggedy Ann and Andy had to step away from him.
Sure.
And so, but this is what an apprenticeship program would have been like in traditional animation studios. You worked with an animator, and he told you what to do, and he said, "Oh, this is what I wanted," and then you go and do something for him. He'd flip it, change yes, say yes or no. You don't have that at all, and that's why you will not have the same kind of development of artists with only in the classroom. You're just not going to have it. You don't have the stress of, and what did I say? I don't mean by stress. It's the honing of skills on a daily basis where you draw. For example, on Tubby the Tuba, we were turning out like.
You might have meant stress. The stress of the impending deadline usually drives the majority of that creativity.
Right. Well, and that's what it is that you learn to say, okay, what is important with that line? Because if you have to do, maybe 25 drawings a day, you learn how to be efficient with your line.
Sure.
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, you gotta crank it out. But you have to stay consistent too. I mean, there has to be you got to keep quality at that right level.
Oh yeah, because you don't just hand it in. You go, for example, when you would do a scene, for example, as an assistant animator supervising, I would do all the key drawings.
Sure.
I would take the animator, but I would have to understand exactly what the animator was trying to do, understand exposure sheets,
sure,
and the timing charts, and then say, okay, what's the important drawings? And sometimes I would have to do something on every, like the animator might have done something on every drawing.
Oh yeah.
For as Art Bab would say, eccentric action. It's not like a straight in between. It's kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, for example, here I'm doing this. How do you do that? I mean, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to do this and then that, and then give it up to somebody else to do it. Sometimes you have to go and do every little wiggly thing.
Wiggle.
Plot out that line of start to finish. Oh my God.
But that's what we did. So for the Raggedy Ann Crew in that Manhattan group, that was this is of 1976. That consists of, there was myself, Eric Goldberg, Dan Haskett, Tom Cito, a bunch of other people. But basically, like, Tom Cito became the union president and a story person at Disney and at DreamWorks.
Sure.
So he was in charge for, like, he's everywhere. Tom Cito, Eric Goldberg.
Oh,
he was there. Eric Goldberg is the genie.
Sure, yeah.
He did that. Dan Haskett designed many of the animation design work at Disney's, in the 80s. So, but that was the start. That was sort of like the big bang of the second wave of animation from the 70s.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No doubt.
Yeah. So that's. But it was a place where you need to develop talent, but it has to come together in a way that isn't just finding a job. Not everybody can do this.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing is, I'm such a lifelong student of animation and animators. I've never gotten into animation itself. A few dabblings here and there over the years on small, tiny things, but nothing of it with any credit to it. But the thing is, I have been connected to animated properties where because I ended up doing a lot of licensing artwork based off of animated properties. Batman the Animated Series, Aladdin, Prince of Egypt. And I've had to adopt the just two-dimensional print drawings from the animation source. And so to that end, I've been lucky enough to actually work through a series of Post-it notes from the animators where all this work had to be approved by them through the company that would hire me to do it. So so it was a real crash course for me because, here's a film. These guys perfected their drawings over the course of 2 or 3 years. And I only had like 3 or 4 weeks to perfect that style. So they were really giving me tons of incredibly precise, directions or precise learning moments with these notes that they would give to me.
Yeah.
These different properties. So I and my appreciation for it started even way back before then. But it's just, phenomenal. I mean, talk about being thrown into the depths of the trenches of drawing and storytelling and expression and layout and timing. Oh, it's fascinating. Fascinating.
Glenn Fleming says, wow, John CV is outstanding. Animation, the only thing I ever wanted to do in my career, and the only thing I never did.
Well, John, you and I are going to make some time outside this broadcast to fill up some airtime, if you don't mind me doing that. Because
Stench says those Spain Rodriguez comics weren't cheap. No, Stench. I got to meet Spain once, got his autograph. So, yeah, what a beauty. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, no.
Thanks to 101 Dalmatians, Xerox on that Duesenberger, it got me into the car model.
Oh, yes. That's that part of the animation.
So Glenn says, John, you should write a book about your life and career, and you should write it with me.
Oh,
Glenn, get in line.
There he goes.
Well, last year's my Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaign last year was Rough Sketch, and that was I did it was a compilation of my animation drawings from my young from the very young time and then to what I'm doing today.
That was yours.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow. Excellent.
Yeah. Speaking of campaigns, let's pull up your current Kickstarter that you have running. Your Indiegogo is currently also in demand, right?
Yes, it is.
And it's under John the Animator Comics.
Yes.
So tell folks what that's all about.
Well, basically, I decided I wanted to do what I'm, a best suited doing, at least at this point. This is my personal design work. My style of drawing is there is an innocence to it, and it's this is my personal stuff, and with my characters, I've decided I wanted to do a comics for entry-level kids to comic books work.
That's awesome.
And this is a video that I put together that had some sample. And these gentlemen, it explained what the comic what the line is all about, what the comics line. But in a nutshell, what I'm trying to do is offer comics from the ages of readership from 4 to 12 years of age.
Oh yeah, the old classic.
Yeah. And so there are 2 series that I have, which is the Snuffy and Zoe Toy Box Adventure series, and then there is Nicky Nards and Mega Moose. And the Snuffy and Zoe go from ages 7 to 8, 4 to 7, and then Mega Moose is from 8 to 12.
Wow.
So there are 2 different types of things. So it's I think that they're the entry level for kids in comics is maybe about 14, 15 years old. And unless you get kids to really enjoy reading comics, they're not going to think of it as something that is enjoyable. And so that's what I decided I was going to do. And so I've got 5 books, and they're in great shape. The books will be printed. I got samples from the from the printer, and so when as soon as everything clears, I'll start printing them and shipping the books out in time for Christmas.
Wow, John, you have got a huge fan in me. This is just Randy. I owe you one for well, I don't know. I just kind of came in today at time, but this is just really so. John, you and I are going to talk at length over the near future. So,
well, John popped up. We put a link in the chat. John popped in one day a couple of months ago, right before he started the campaign, and we started talking to him, and our eyes got as big as yours.
Oh,
when he mentioned doing Boba Fett and the holiday special, we're like, really? That's awesome!
Wow.
How cool is that?
Wow.
John also mentioned on Dragon's Lair, if you've ever played Dragon's Lair and died, he probably animated the death.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I love
it. More of a space age fan, and that's what my lit up is like
awesome.
Every last animation for Dexter and Space Ace dying, it was something special with it.
Wasn't that awesome?
And he died different ways throughout that whole game. It wasn't just the same animation over and over and over again. It was just that one liner and he dies. It was just so classic.
You hated to die in the game, but you loved seeing what happened.
Yeah.
It was just so great. Wow. Now, John, are you in touch with Don Bluth these days? He's still around.
Oh, no. The last time I saw him was back in the 80s.
Okay, I guess he's trying to form something.
He's trying to get animation studio back up and running.
Yeah. Well, that's I don't know. I've sort of stayed away from that. I've because of just the amount of effort it takes to animate now.
Oh,
okay.
God.
And unless you were able to have a team, there is just too much. I wish him well in terms of being able to get the people together to do this. I don't know what his I know that his project is the idea of doing his own fables.
Sure.
And right. Well, I've been writing since the early 90s, crime fiction novels, things of that sort.
Sure.
But my focus, I'm sort of getting away from, or I've gotten away from animation, to do these projects because they are like being an animator. All the poses, the storytelling is there. The posing is there, and the fun is there, and also I get to complete a project a lot quicker than an animated film gets there.
Oh my God! The sheer manpower, the man hours, and needed to do animation. So my focus is on that. So I'm taking everything that I know
and putting it into these the line of books.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I'm doing that. I'm doing that for the kids, and then I decided, well, how about just since my projects, or rather the Kickstarters are for as a John the Animator comics, I decided I'm going to do a release a line another for more mature people,
Sure.
for 18 and older. Okay, and that is basically a web comic that I did that was an adaptation of a novella I published on Amazon, and it's a sci-fi fantasy. It involves angels and things of that nature. So there's a lot going on that is more for the regular market, but it still has a very animatable style.
Oh,
more for the adult market. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Well, now, how many
the samples you sent me yesterday, John, we can't post
I know you can't
because they're that adult. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and let's put it this way: when I do the what I'm thinking of doing is at the end of the campaign, I will then at some point, because I'll be in demand, I can offer PDFs of of sections of the comic until I can get enough up there to be able to launch it as a full book.
Sure.
So of that sort. But the images will have black tape strategically placed around.
Oh,
little black box.
Yeah, little black. The way they used to do. Like
Sure.
the old.
That's right. There you go.
Is now this Kickstarter is still going right now?
Yes, the Kickstarter has got about another 12 days or what have you. I'm almost funded. I'm 74% of the way there. I only need $130. This was I wanted to do this as just $500 to see how much of a difference the audience is from Kickstarter to Indiegogo, and those are two very different audiences. Some people will want to shop at Macy's, and some in Gimbals. I mean, that's an old reference, but basically that's what it comes down to. And basically there is some people will not do Kickstarter, and other people will not do Indiegogo.
Very true. Yep.
So I'm offering I offered it to both.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
if I could keep Indiegogo, rather Kickstarter, continuing, I would, but they don't have an ongoing program like in demand with Indiegogo.
Oh yeah.
That's why we tell our audience, anybody who's thinking about doing a crowdfunding campaign, to check out both avenues, both Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Each platform has different pluses and minuses. Depending on your needs. You might be throwing a campaign that's better suited at Indiegogo than Kickstarter, and vice versa.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Really do your research.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And so now, Scott, because you might be interested, what my top tier for the Indiegogo and for both campaigns is a Boba Fett sketch.
Is that the super duper mega pack?
Yes, the super duper mega pack.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, would this be a custom sketch of Boba Fett that you do, or is this part of?
Well, if you roll up the Randy, if you just go all the way down, roll the the other. That's it. Keep on rolling there, and you'll see the pose that I'm doing for for everybody, for each person. But keep going, keep roll fast.
Oh,
faster.
I'm looking. I haven't seen this stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'm just looking. This is slightly different from the Indiegogo campaign.
Okay, there you go.
I know about the Kickstarter one because you showed me a lot of stuff about the Kickstarter one, because you was asking me about my samples that I got from Kickstarter for my Kickstarter campaign and everything.
Really? For those
There
of you
we
in
are.
the video, we are enjoying some incredibly beautiful drawings that John has done for his Kickstarter.
Yeah.
One of which is Boba Fett that we're staring at.
It's on Kickstarter under John the Animator Comics.
Yep.
So,
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That is nice. The drool, the salivation begins. Oh my gosh. Joe, did you get a Boba Fett drawing? Did I hear you right? Or
No, I didn't opt for the drawing, but I did all back for the Mega Moose books.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
Because Mega Moose reminds me more so of Shazam in some type of way, and it seems it's a lot of fun to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Randy, where are we at audience numbers right now?
I have no clue.
No
Scott,
clue.
sorry, but all of that stuff's over at Variant's house and under Variant's control, and he's not even in his house right now. I do know we are live, and if for whatever reason we are not, we will be when Variant gets back and takes a look at the system. I'm pretty sure we're still live right now, though.
Okay.
Hello, all of you Indie Vault Radio listeners. This is the BrEaKfAsT BuZz for October 8th, 2020. I am here with, I'm your host, Randy Zimmerman. I'm here with Scott Rosema, with John D. McPhee, and with John, the animator.
That's
Or Joe
D.
sorry,
McPhee.
Joe D. McPhee. Sorry. Joe D. McPhee from Amazonia.
We're John centric right now, Joe.
And we're John centric.
No, I understand.
Sorry,
I do
no.
have some questions to ask him, but I don't think he has an answer for it.
What?
Like, for example, going back to the whole their stint with Dragon Slayer and Space Ace.
Yeah.
Do you think that the technology back then really limited those franchises? Because if you had the technology that you have today, would we see like a Dragon Slayer 4 by now, or a Dragon Slayer 5 and Space Ace 3?
Oh,
if it was done today as opposed to back in the 80s.
good question.
I think it's about money. Yeah, it all boils down to how successful and whether or not the reasons that those games stopped. Well, one basically is there was a lawsuit, between the two. I mean, they literally the studio shut down and was disbanded. We were as we were finishing up the Dragon's Lair 2.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I had moved my wife and myself and everything. We had relocated from Toronto to Los Angeles to have a permanent studio, to be working for Don Bluth as a supervising assistant and whatnot. And 6 months after we arrived and were settling in and everything, it got your pink slip. The whole studio was under.
Oh, good.
Oof.
Yeah.
Move all the way
I was wondering if it was due to the technology at that time, because I believe the lawsuit was dealing with the technology about the Laserdisc aspect of those games.
I wasn't so much that as that they weren't getting paid. They weren't getting the money that they had, fronted from, and this was a partnership problem.
Oh.
That was that. I mean, people were. I mean, to all intended purposes, my understanding is that Dragon's Lair and Space Ace were bringing them in.
Oh, God.
The arcade.
Gangbusters with sales.
Yeah, because there was a lot of copycat games out there that was of that similar technology. I mean, you had the Dragon Slayer, Space Ace, but you also had games like Cliffhanger, Bargain's Battle, Super Don Quixote.
But I don't think that I don't know that they had the same kind of animation technology. The talent. First of all, there weren't enough animators to do that kind of work.
No,
well, they would take established animation and converting them into games, as opposed to what Don Bluth did, which was create everything from scratch.
Yeah. Well, yes, and that's a thing. That's you have your various what's the word? Stock. You can do a lot, and we did that all the time. We did a lot of reuse. I mean, and if you planned the animation, you don't need to do everything the same. You flop it, you move it around, you do things with it, but it's the characters and the acting and the personalities. And there's a difference between the Bluth video games and just having an a robot or a visual moving about.
Yeah.
There is playability, and then there is entertainment in just watching what the characters are doing.
Yeah.
And so I mean, today, there's all kinds of stuff, but we're talking 30 years later.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
30. Yeah.
Well, I know that
30 some odd years later. Yeah. Getting close to 40 years later.
The whole format of when Space Ace and Dragon's Lair came out, it was such a game changer because we're all just used to the 8-digit, the 8-bit, digitized stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when Don came along and said, let's use full animation for a video game, it was just wow. Everyone was blown away by it.
Mm-hmm.
There was constantly a line at the arcade, for people trying to get to their quarters of the machine to play it.
I know.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Joe, did you get much chance to play the games?
Oh yes, I grew up in that era.
Oh,
I was born in '75, so yes, I played those games. I know wholeheartedly what those games are capable of, but I also know about the technology because that's kind of like the career field that I'm sort of in. And I knew for a fact that a lot of those Laserdisc games, one of the major problems was the breakdown issue. That the actual Laserdisc machine that were in them would constantly break down, and those players were not cheap. And that was one of the reasons why those games kind of went off the market very quickly back in the early 80s, around like 84, 85.
Yeah.
Those games were not easy to maintain.
Yeah.
And here is proof of how absolutely captivating those were, is that was the one thing that actually got me to go into a Chuck E. Cheese. Because I wasn't gonna go there for the pizza or the ball pit, but they had the Dragon's Lair, and then they had Space Ace, and we had a Chuck E. Cheese next to a Denny's. That was the cluster of entertainment and going out for the weekend for us here in Muskegon. It was just awesome. I mean, that was and now Joe, it's interesting you should bring that up with the problems that they had. I did not realize that was what plagued the growing of those games beyond just the two options we had.
It was the technology that plagued the games more so than anything. It wasn't the animation itself. It was the medium that they had to put it on in order to get the game to work.
Now, John, were you lined up to work on other versions of that at the time, and it never got realized? I mean, are there?
Well, I don't know what the new versions would have been. I mean, we were finishing up Dragon's Lair 2, and suddenly that was over. So you don't really think about it. You have to move on. You have to find a new job.
Oh yeah, imagine.
And you just you go and you do what you have to do.
Sure. Do you think any of that unseen material will ever see the light of day, like in a printed version art of book, or?
Well, I know that I thought that Dragon's Lair and Space Ace and Dragon's Lair 2 were all released in some
been
form
re-released.
or another, right?
In several forms. Yeah, they have been re-released in several forms, and even on modern console platforms, they have been re-released.
Right.
Oh wow.
So it's all there. In terms of I don't know where the artwork is, but
I would love to see a whole volume. I mean, those art of books that were coming out at the time for all the Disney films, I gobbled those up with a spoon. I mean, I just love that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I have no idea where all that. I'm sure that Don has thought about doing it. But it really depends on getting a deal.
Oh, he should. He should. I'm sure he would have a huge audience for that material. I mean, that's animation history right there in a big chunk.
Well,
and like I stated before, with the technology of today, he could come back and come back with a Dragon's Lair 3 or a Space Ace 2. And
sure.
People like us who reminisce about it will come back to it, and it will open up the door for the next generation of gamers.
Was there ever a Saturday morning cartoon on
SD cards that could hold all that animation in a heartbeat?
Yeah. Was
you
there
don't
ever
have to worry about breakdowns and stuff like that?
Yeah. Was there ever a Dragon's Lair Saturday morning cartoon?
Yeah, I worked on it.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I was working layout on it. What happens once you go into Saturday morning cartoons, even then, back in like 84, 85, a lot of it is being shipped overseas already by that time. And after working on on doing the layouts, working on a Dragon's Lair, the Saturday morning show, and on the Turbo Teen, I went over to Filmation and worked on She-Ra and He-Man. But all of that work was in-house under one roof. Nothing was shipped overseas. So that was but you're talking about trying to make a living doing your doing what you have been training and loving to do, because still back then there was still only a handful of people. Everybody knew everybody.
Right.
Today that's not the case. And you had it was a mix of young Turks and people who have been in the business forever. I worked at the Patty Freeling, for Frizz Freeling.
Yeah.
And he was the one who gave me the chops. He said, "Okay, you are an animator." So I got his book because he hired me as an animator. That was the first recognition of being an animator.
Did you work on any of the Aardvark and the Ant pieces?
I was on. I worked on Baggy Pants and the Nitwits, and on What's New, Mr. Magoo.
Oh my!
Okay.
God.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's a dig. That's a deep dig right there.
Oh, that's really something.
That's like Turbo Teen.
Yeah. Well, that's in the spring. That's in the summer of '77 that I was working for Frizz Freeling. So you're talking about there's like 7 years between that and working on Dragon's Lair and Space Ace.
Wow, that the Magoo was Jim Backus still doing?
Oh yeah, and he looked like him.
Oh,
I mean, Jim had you couldn't miss him, but was a big guy.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Jim Backus is a big guy.
We're talking like 6 feet and wide.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well, he's 6 feet tall easily.
Wow. You don't get that impression on Gilligan's Island at all.
No,
that he's that big.
But he was. I only saw him once walking through the halls it probably meant he was going to a recording, to do the and what here's some history for people. We listened to do our soundtrack, our animation, our lip syncing, and figuring out what kind of mouths to use. At the Patty Freeling, they cut all the dialogue and they recorded on vinyl. So we were listening to records and just picking up the needle and putting it down. It wasn't tape.
Wow. No kidding. Wow.
It wasn't even a cassette tape. No, it was you had to do you were lifting up. And it had everybody had a record player. Everybody.
Talk about old school. My God.
Oh yeah, very old school.
Wow. I was during a lot of this licensing work, I got to know some guys out in California. One friend of mine who actually he worked on a lot of the production art for the Johnny Quest show they did in the mid '90s. Like
The
I have a clothespin here somewhere. Hang on.
when they went virtual
I
reality.
gotta plug my nose while you're talking.
Yeah. And anyway, he's a huge fan of the original Johnny Quest from the '60s, you know. And the thing is, he was just super student of all those guys, and he got to know a lot of the voice actors. And he actually cornered the voice of Dr. Quest. I forget the guy. God, what's his name? Anyway,
there were two of them.
Yeah, John Stevenson was the first one, but then anyway, he cornered the classic voice guy in the elevator at Hanna-Barbera and asked him if he would record for him a voice message for his voicemail. And so, not Dawes Butler. Anyway, he got him, and the guy was super nice. He said, "Sure." So they grabbed some corner sound booth, and he recorded for this friend of mine. He recorded this voicemail, and let me recreate this for you. It's just like 30 seconds. It starts out with those classic, drum beats from the Johnny Quest show.
Oh yeah.
And then the voice guy breaks in and says, "Hello, this is Dr. Benton Quest. Race, Johnny, and Haji and I have gone back in time to try and stop the nefarious Dr. Zinn. Lance, who's my friend, Lance will return your call as soon as he gets back. I hope." It's just the greatest voicemail. And when he put this on his machine, after about a couple months, he would come home and his machine would just be blinking with no messages. People would just call, listen to the voice recording. And it's just the greatest. It's perfect Dr. Quest doing this guy's voicemail. It's just awesome. And I just, so John, your experience with
we're talking John Stephenson.
Yes. No. That was the first Dr. Quest. The one that we most know. That's the Ricard. Not Dawes Butler, not Don Messick. Don Messick was the voice of Dr. Quest.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
And he got Don Messick to record this voicemail for him, and it was just the most beautiful thing you've ever heard. It was just awesome. So anyway,
he also played Bandit.
Yes, he did the Bark of Bandit and just tons of other work for HB. All those guys were just awesome. So, John, did you ever get to know many of the voice actors in your?
Oh, no, because let's see. Now you're talking about.
You saw Jim Backus once in the.
I saw Jim Backus once there. I saw maybe once or twice Dee Dee Khan for Raggedy Ann and Andy. She's the voice.
Sure.
Was it Jim Henshaw who did? He was on. He did the voice for Dan Mouse on Raggedy on at Nelvana's the Devil and Daniel Mouse.
Right.
The closest that I actually worked with anybody who wasn't an animator was with John Sebastian of the Loving Spoonfuls, because he did a ton of our shows, the music for us at Nelvana. So when we were doing the Devil and Daniel Mouse, for example, I have a whole sequence, the whole finale where they're playing. They're doing a whole song and whatnot about trying to talk the devil out of getting Jan's soul, getting him. So anyway, the whole idea was he was playing the guitar, the Dan Mouse had to do a fingering and whatnot. So John and I would work on the fingering, and he'd show, this is how I'm playing here. So I'm doing a lot of drawing and sketching while he's fingering that thing, so that in the animation, I make sure that you see, for example, Dan Mouse is playing there and he's fingering away there, so you can see at least the chord changes are right.
Sure. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. So I know that I imagine you probably didn't get a chance to meet a lot of these guys because you were you said you had your head down on the table in the
Oh
train.
yeah,
to
yeah,
get to
yeah.
work. So
Yeah, union. I mean, you got to remember, if you're in one place, you're someplace. You can't be someplace else. You plant your seat, you plant your butt on your seat, and you get the footage down.
sure.
That's basically what it is, and that's the
That's true.
reality of it.
That's the reality with any job, though. You got to plant your butt.
Well, that's it.
Got to do the work.
It's not a thing of fantasy. It is the fact that you have to get stuff out, and if you got bonus footage, you're getting bonus footage. So you go and you make sure. Sometimes you could double your weekly salary by doing bonus footage. So you make sure that you do it, especially at the Patty Thrilling. Yeah.
It's just like in comics. I mean, you've got so many pages you got to do, and you got so you got to sit down, get the pencil to paper, every day in somewhere or another.
Yeah. Well,
oh my God, Randy, do we have Michael Oden in the house?
We
now?
do. For our radio audience out there, we just brought Michael Oden in.
How
you going, guys?
Hi, Michael.
This show is gone, so I'm out of here.
Oh no! Scared up, Scott.
Introduce yourself to the radio audience.
Together. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Introduce yourself.
Man, it's just been awesome just hearing you guys chat about all the animation stuff and what have you. It's honestly, I was just listening and I was waiting to get brought on because I've been sitting in the green room for a little bit, but I was like, oh man, this is good stuff.
Yeah, thanks for waiting back there, Mike.
Oh, it's absolutely no problem. I was just hanging out, listening, and having a good time.
Introduce yourself to the radio audience, Michael, please.
Hey, hello everyone. My name's Michael Oden. If you haven't heard me here before, I'm the creator and writer of Elysian Fields. I also do some freelance writing for Up Your Geek. And, we have Elysian Fields, The Pyramid Gambit live right now on Indiegogo. And you can even get a hardcover deluxe edition of the book with Scott Rosema's cover on it.
Oh, please. My modesty.
Oh man.
Anyway, we'll bring that. We'll bring that up here in just a second. Let's get back to the chat here real quick. Animation is a concentration. Stinch says, build the habit while they're young. I'm sure he's talking about your books, John. Build the habit while they're young. That's how you get them returning. Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Get them reading comics. Stinch also says Stinch also says source, dude, trust me. Glenn says, hey Randy and Joe, notice how John and Scott look like brothers?
He's my older brother.
Now
it's just the bald head that does it.
Yeah, that's it.
Really We're going to ask Joe and Mike to both shave their head before the show's over, so we can all.
I'm almost there.
Everyone in solidarity.
Yeah. I wear a hat just to keep the shine down.
Yeah.
if I thought I could get a hat that would stay on my head, I'd probably do the same thing, but it just slides right off.
Glenn Fleming says, I have a character named Hatch who has his own strip, and he's desperate to appear in an animated film one day. Stitch says that Glenn Fleming heard of the open source drawing software Krita features an animation plug. So if you got that and Williams Animator Survival Kit, you're set. Wow. Anybody could almost animate from home anymore.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
John, are you familiar with some of this newer animation setups I have?
Well, I draw on Toon Boom. I use Toon Boom animation, like Toon Boom Studio, but that is very old technology in my old computers, and I use that to do any of the animation that I did in the last since about 2001. So I used Toon Boom Animation Studio for the last 20 years. I know how to use it, and but I just don't like drawing on the screen. So I was scanning everything in anyway. So but that's basically, but I don't know the new stuff. The new stuff is not geared to drawing pencil work. It is more for building puppetry.
Off a framework. Off a 3D framework in the computer already.
Yeah. Or even it's two-dimensional, whatever it is, you're just building assets, right, Joe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say,
but John, if you're like me, you believe in the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you know the program, keep using the program.
That's why I've had these two computers fixed, so that I can, reuse. I've got Photoshop 5.5.
Good.
That is an older version than even I use, John.
Wow.
Yeah.
Keep repairing that with tape and baling wire, don't you?
No, they're in really good shape. I don't drive that hard. When you juggle 3 computers, you don't have to use them all at the same time. So, I just you drive them gently.
Yes.
Okay.
And you keep them off the net. That's a tip.
Well, Michael's going to arrange to have Elysian Fields made into a film, and then I think a TV series. So he's going to
hold on 1 second, Scott. You're going way overboard here.
Sorry, I just get so excited about my support of Elysian because he arranged for that notorious son of a bee, Scott Roosevelt, to do an alternate cover for him. So obviously it's about ready to just break open and just flooded and swamped with orders.
I bring Scott in to do a cover, and then he just starts spewing stuff out there that hasn't even happened. And then I've actually gone on stream and been like, yeah, so people have asked me about that sort of thing. And I'm like, yeah, I just want to make a good comic right now. And then Scott just goes, oh, well, actually,
we're gonna
movie deal, TV show.
Well, I told you when we started, I'm a chatty Cathy from the highest order. You keep me going.
I still brought you on. It's all good.
The clouds.
Back on the chat, Stinch says those spiked boots on those spiked tips on Boba Fett's boots. Deets like that are a beaut.
Oh yeah,
it's the small details that count. Thanks, Stitch. Stinch. Glenn's talking to Stinch about the animation stuff. I'm trying to get around to learning Blender. That's a good piece of software, and it's as is Unreal Engine, which I've never heard of.
So, Unreal Engine is one of the base engines that they use for video games.
Oh, is it really?
Who's calling? Is that you again, Scott?
No, not me.
I think that's me.
Yeah,
that's you, Joe. I'm going to mute you for just a sec.
So, anyway. Michael, what is the latest poop on how Elysian Fields is coming together?
So we hit our funding goal pretty early. We got to the 2K in the first 4 days, but we hit a little bit of a momentum snag after that. So we've been doing some heavy pushing and what have you. We're starting to, I think, get some momentum back. We're nearing 3,000 right now at 27.95, I believe was where we're at as of this morning. And so, I made an announcement on Twitter and across our social media stuff here that in addition to doing the trading cards when we hit 5,000, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to make Scott do even more work. So I'm going to be sending Scott all of the hardcover deluxe editions for him to sign. And so if we get to 5K and you got that hardcover deluxe edition, it already carries his digital signature, but it will also include his signature in the book.
I got my shirt
or on the cover, wherever he wants to put his John Hancock. I don't really. Yeah,
And
he's
for
just
our
gonna draw and he's gonna go full on toddler and just giant circles. All you're not actually going to see your cover anymore.
Scott seems to be trying to do Winky Dink, drawing on the screen there.
Let me see. Let me see. There we go. That's it.
But yeah, so we're doing a whole bunch of stuff to kind of pick back up some momentum. We also would announce that the first 50 people that got that Dragon Guard covered, that will be signed by Kevin Sharp. I'll send those to him. And we're starting to build some momentum back, but it's definitely a hard push. I think that there's just a lot of campaigns that are going on right now, and then you factor in the fact that everything else is going crazy and people are just kind of trying to stay off social media. It's making the job of marketing a bit difficult. And there you have Scott's beautiful cover, which is just absolutely stunning. Like,
it was a lot of fun. I knew that when Michael and I talked together about how we wanted to do it, I knew that what I wanted was to have the armor just have this mirror shine to it. I knew I wanted to do that. That was probably one of the more fun parts of doing this. So
it turned out so pretty. I mean, when you look at like the original thing that I had sent Scott,
your sketch, yeah.
like the horrible mock-up I did. And to see it come to life like this, which was like 1,000,000 times better than anything that I could have put forward there. It was such a great experience. I remember when he sent me like the finished product, my like jaw hit the floor. I was like, oh my God.
Well, it's always fun. I mean, that's the thing when we first hooked up, you had such a passion for the historical aspect of the story and the concept of what you had. And I was a huge fan of those types of legends and myths when I was growing up anyway. It just seemed like the perfect fit, take all my superhero background and big, bigger than life melodramatic stuff I like so much. I just knew I wanted to really try and pull something out of my hat so that it was a lot of fun to do. And I think it's going to really, really be worthwhile. Hopefully everybody's should pick one up and we'll get those signed ones to you. That'll be fun.
Yeah. If I can talk, I did have a cup of coffee, but apparently, it was such an awesome thing seeing this go from like your pencils to your inks, and then the finished color. Like I honestly, words cannot express. Like, I mean, you literally worth every penny of what we came to read upon on this cover. It's outstanding, and if you're an art collector, you can actually purchase Scott's original pencils, and I think Scott's got them there with him.
Yeah, let me get that for you.
And that's up there on the campaign.
The original page right there. That's what people can go for if they want it. So
yeah, it's a pricey piece, but it's worth Scott did just a tremendous job on this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Honestly, just brilliant.
And for our radio audience, we are talking about Elysian Fields, The Pyramid Gambit, available now on Indiegogo by Michael Oden with a special cover by Mr. Scott Roseman.
Really? Everybody go there and contribute to it, as well as contributing to John the Animator's program.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Scott, if I ask, what type of paper are you using and what pencils are you using?
Well, the original page, the original pencil, that's just regular bond paper.
Okay.
I just use actually I did a lot of that penciling with some Blackwings.
Okay. Yep.
Blackwing pencils. I know that Blackwing was used with Animators for a while, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah. I know all about the resurgence of that because I was part of that. We're talking with California Cedar, developing the Blackwing pencil.
Oh, did you? You were part of it?
Yeah, I was part of one of the people that they they worked with to develop the feel and such of that. So
yeah, I've got my.
there you go. Well, that is the original one there. The black. That's the black wing. And then there's a 602, which is as close as possible to the old Blackwing pencils.
Yeah, I've got that and the one that's got the white stalk to it. And that's I got all three of them.
I don't have that one.
Oh, they're just
I figured,
awesome. Awesome pencils. Awesome pencils. And what I did is that I did that pencil and then I translated it into a blue line.
Okay.
And then printed it out on some really good Bristol paper, and that's what I did the inking on.
Oh, okay.
So I've got
transfer.
I've got 2 originals actually besides
right.
So
yeah,
and that was just really fun. Plus, if I could, Mike, let me promote this again. The Elysian Fields logo was something that I did up.
That's correct. Yeah, no, and I completely forgot to even mention that. Like, Scott has been so fantastic with all of this. Like, I remember when I actually met Scott Rosema on.
We're here.
What was it? Was it on Geekasm or is it just standard Indie Vault?
I think it was on Indie Vault.
Okay.
Indie Vault.
Yeah, and so like within a day of that, I had friend requested him, and I was asking about stuff, and he sends me this whole thing. It's like, I was looking at your logo, and like it's not bad, but it could pop more. And so I just wanted to show you what I was thinking, what I could do with your logo. And I just went, well, I mean, twist my arm, go on ahead, like. And so when we did the cover, that was a whole thing. And then I think Scott and I have been talking, and he's also going to be giving the Nine Realms logo a makeover at some point, which is really exciting.
Yes.
I've
always been a big proponent of really dynamic graphic design. That's so I'm always wanting to tweak and mess with things that I see that I think could be, have a little more punch to them. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah, and I mean the results speak for themselves. Everyone loves the new logo, Scott. You did a great job there. Your cover is fantastic.
Thank you much. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. So Elysian Fields Pyramid Gambit is live right now. We have Scott Rosema's fantastic cover. We have Support Our Troops tiers for people to back, and
that's very cool.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to partner with the Special Forces Charitable Trust, and so on any tier that you see their logo, a minimum of $10 of that purchase goes towards the Special Forces Charitable Trust, and then you've got the Justin Hunt donated his original art that he did for the pinup, and that entire price point of sale that we're doing for that will be donated to the Special Forces Charitable Trust as well.
Oh, excellent.
So
excellent. We got more chat, Randy?
Yes, we do. I thought you were going to talk for a little bit longer.
Oh,
hang on. I was just typing up a banner, but yeah, we definitely have chat. Lots of chat.
Yeah, take a look at the chat. They're the cool people anyway.
David Galliano, I believe you're live. Yes, we are, David. Thanks so much for listening. Emily Zelasco's in the house. Good morning, Emily. Good morning, and thanks again so much for listening. Stinch says, question for John. Have the years since Rock and Rule, Dragon's Lair, and the like made you change to create more happier, commercially accessible products, or has it been there since way back?
I think he's referring to what my drawings are like now versus what I had to work on.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's always been there. This has always been my style. I've just had to adapt to, when you work on somebody else, Scott, when you work on someone's models, you have to, you adapt.
Oh yeah.
But actually the last say 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. I've worked on, been really drawing and designing my own stuff. And so it's all, come together. But I can still do, a dark demon. I can do that. But the difference is, for Stinch, it's all in what you have inside. Like, I have always been proponent of a much cleaner line.
Yeah.
And it's always been that. So even if I do, a devil, there'll always be an appeal to it because it won't have the same kind of it will be a simpler design. There'll be a lot of in there, but there's not a lot of stuff that darkens it. It is, I focus always on the eyes as a major source of what the attitude, the eyes, and then the mouth. And once you do that, then you've got everything.
Yeah.
And John, something we don't mention very often is you have a John the Animator channel on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah.
Where you cover a lot of animation, little tricks and hooks, and talk about squash and squish, and
squash and stretch, all the basics there. Yeah.
Can we get a link to that?
Just go to John Celestri, and you go and type in YouTube John Celestri.
Celestri with a C.
CELESTRI, and you can get it.
Okay, now
I'm posting the link there in the chat, in the private there for you, Scott.
Oh, excellent.
Appreciate that.
No, real quick. This just a little bit of a shop question here, John.
Yeah.
Stinch's comment and then your response brought this point up to me. As you said, when you're working with other properties, and you've got the style guide, you've got the character sheets to go by, and for me, I made a big mark, adapting that into print medium with, the drawings. So I had to adapt a lot of different styles. But as much as being able to adapt, isn't it just as important to always keep developing and honing your foundational skills?
Oh, yeah.
The reason I say that is because, and I learned that when I got the call one day, I did X-Men for Marvel, and I'd sent all these samples out to the different editors, as you always have to do to try and keep work coming in. And one day I got a call from the editor over at the Batman the Animated Series branch of DC. And he said, "Hey, I saw your X-Men samples. How would you like to do some Batman animated stuff?" Now, this was, of course, an incredible moment for me because my head just exploded. And I said, "Sure, gladly," But then I asked him, and I'm glad I did. I asked him, "All right, that's excellent, but I'm curious. What made you think to call me? Because I know what I sent you looks nothing like the Bruce Timm animated stuff." And he said, "Well, I saw your X-Men samples, and by those samples, I could see that you understood human anatomy. And if you understand human anatomy, you can do the Bruce Timm animated style." And I had never made that connection up until then. I always thought you always had to just mimic styles exactly and all this. But this editor, thank God, was open-minded enough to realize he saw the foundational skills in the samples and knowing that could translate into the stylized, Bruce Timm take. So that started in me this notion that I was always going to try and push, like whenever I do teaching or whatever, I always try and push the basics and the foundations to everybody and let them know that is what you have to develop almost first and foremost if you ever want to branch into whatever direction you want to go in. And then with your experience in animation, I would have to imagine you must carry some of that attitude, throughout your career, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, my wife sees me doodling every morning at breakfast. I have a page of doodles, and they don't look like anything because I'm not looking to create a design. I draw straight lines, bend lines, cross hatching, moving around my pencils all day. I would think, and there, when you talk about foundational thing, I know we don't have that much time left, but my breakthrough in terms of learning animation and learning how to draw movement, which is one of the hardest things for people to do.
Yes.
And that is, I learned that you draw the forces that affect the movement and the intensity or what have you, and then you put the form on top of the forces.
Yes.
It's not just about an S line,
right?
You know, and whatnot. It's not like just understanding that the nape of the neck, you know, balances your insole, you know, the tip of your foot and leg and whatnot. That's what keeps you from falling over. You understand those things. You know, you can lean back and forth, but it's also the forces, the intensity of the movement across on the page. And if you can draw that, if you can capture that, everything else is just can be thrown right on there. If you understand where the joints are, you don't have to be anatomically correct. You can give the impression of being anatomically correct because there's all kinds of things. You don't have to have head, you know, 7.5 heads high. Don't worry about that. Worry about form. You know, how much squash is there? I mean, the consecutive breaking of joints. Why is a drawing? What makes a drawn hand feel like it's holding something?
Yes, exactly.
You know, and
I was always big on learning the line of action and maintaining the center of gravity.
Right.
If you can do that, the figure always looks like it's doing what it should be doing. It never looks off balance, or even if you got it extending one side or the other. If you establish at least those 2 points as part of it, you can really make an effective, you know, figure work in space. So, and
I was going to say with like Bernd Hogarth, who did the Tarzan work, and his stuff, even though it seemed dynamic, but they always seemed posed. There's a different way of. I mean, you can be posing, but you know what? It's different between capturing something in mid-action. Yeah. And that's where you have to understand where the extremes are. The most successful drawings are always going to be the keys. So not just the keys, but the extremes in a character. You know, it's the squash. It's the squash of when you leap up, you have the stretch, but then you have the recoil. And where is the drapery? Where's the hair?
Yeah.
What is all of that? And when you can capture that in the pose, then it's alive.
Oh yes.
If you don't do that, then you've just posed something. You've nailed it to the. You know, you've done certain things, but you've not frozen in mid motion. You have just kind of like posed it and placed it there.
Yeah, John Buscema was great at putting that across with his drawings. And Randy, didn't you carry some Bernd Hogarth Sundays in the?
No, unfortunately, I did not. I did carry a lot of variety of artists in the Flash Gordon work, but no, I was never able to get Tarzan for the paper.
And it's funny, John, you should mention describing those qualities, because with Michael's the book that he showed me parts of it before I did stuff for him. A lot of what his artists started doing that, and that's what really attracted me to that, because I could see those qualities of stretch and recoil and extension of movement and such. And so there's a lot of that going on, and that's what I think is usually something that attracts the eye of somebody who wants to see some quality work.
Yeah, Marcelo does really just a bang up job on his work, and it's really just this whole thing where, you know, I loved it. Like, obviously I picked him as my artist for a reason. I really enjoy seeing his progress and everything like that. but like it's crazy because as much as I loved his work and like the Zero issue, seeing how much he's growing with getting comfortable with these characters and everything, going into Pyramid Gambit, and as we continue going forward, it's just been outstanding. And
oh yeah,
you know, it's one of those things where, you know, we're getting to play around with more dynamic action pieces in Pyramid Gambit. So like you get to see a lot more of those things that John was talking about with you know, capturing motion and realizing that, you know, it's not necessarily about being anatomically correct so much as giving the appearance of doing so while capturing that dynamic action piece to really make the force of movement work.
Glenn Fleming adds in the same with Kirby. Some people say he didn't know about muscles, etc., but he knew it inside out, and made his characters even more powerful.
Oh yes,
Kirby was a king of action sequences, and a lot of that came from his combat experience that he had in the war, and that really came through in those Captain America books during like the Silver Age and what have you. When he came back after everything, you look at
you
the
can
way
definitely
that he did
change in his art from before to after his wartime experience. Yep.
Joe, what would you say about that with Kirby? I mean, he must have been a big influence on you, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He was a very big influence, especially for what I've seen now about time of action more so than anything else. And one of the things that always drives me up the wall is when you draw fight scenes. Fight scenes always seem to me is always after the fact of impact. One of the things that I do in primetime Saturday night, I always show point of impact and how everything relates that point of impact. So when a person gets hit, I rather show like the jaw movement, you know, the actual expression of pain on the person's face, and then after they drive through, you actually see the action of why they move in a certain way, as opposed to you seeing the swing punch and the action lines and the guy just spinning all over the place. Like, no, that to me is not real combat at that point.
Okay.
And Joe, you've been patiently sitting here on the stream, and we haven't talked yet about your Kickstarter.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, I'm around superstars. I'm a nobody in the industry. Nobody knows about me. Right? If I could say in those terms.
Let's not go there.
Michael Oden and I don't hang around with nobody, so
I'm a nobody, if anything. Like,
I'm just a 70-year-old guy in Kentucky.
This is funny. Let's all argue about who's most unknown. You know. Joe's campaign is Amazonia, the 10th anniversary edition. The 10th anniversary edition.
Oh wow!
Yes, it's been 10 years since we did the very first Amazonia #1 back in 2008, and since 2008, the original #1 was out of print because of the simple fact that we went over to Comixology, and Comixology wanted me to redraw the initial issue #1. To improve the artwork for it could fit into its reading platform. And since then, since 2013, we've been successful because we almost got to the point where we almost canceled this series because it wasn't selling very well until Comixology took an interest in it. And what 10th anniversary it is the actual re-release of the issue #1. So you get both versions, the one that we did for Comixology plus the out of print #1 all together in one fell package. And the pages that you're seeing here is actually from the redone Comixology version, which is the 5th anniversary edition of issue #1. This is actually all my artwork. The colors were done by Corey Green, who has done work with Hi-Fi, who actually does color work for Marvel and DC.
I've heard of Corey Green.
Pretty much, I'm just a guy that just happens to be one of those people who couldn't just wait for another artist and just took it on himself just to make certain that the comic comes out.
Sure.
There you go.
Like I said, I made a lot of mistakes and I'm still here after a decade.
That's it. And durability is a big cue right there.
Mm-hmm.
You're fully funded on this one, right?
Yes, I'm fully funded. I still need one more backer before we can start giving away all our freebies. Like we have free art prints, and I was trying to give away actual variant versions of this. if we hit a $1,000 goal and $2,000 goal.
I like the boldness of the line you've got going with the art, and it's got a nice graphic feel to it. It's really, really neat.
So there, it's like when we started off by offering the C2E2 version, exclusive version of issue number 1 that I did for Bombshell Comics. They have an exclusive license for our more riskier covers. So it's like on the first day, we gave those away for free for those who backed early. So I'm happy that we got about like 7 to 8 people that took advantage of that. But as you can see with our stretch goals here, we do have 4 different art prints for backer milestones. And like I said, we're 1 away from our 25th one for the very first one to be given away for free. We'll just be added on to your reward here. So hopefully people who are listening to the radio cast will come out to the Kickstarter and actually think about backing it. It's like we're trying to give away free stuff. We got our funding goal. We just want to give away free stuff at this point.
Yeah. Well,
it's on Kickstarter under Amazonia, AMAZONIA.
I love the gotta admit, I'm attracted to the full figures you've got going there. It's
yes, I mean the main character, Elysian Masters, is a character that stands over 18 foot tall. So it's like a female that's like a giant that living amongst men, and she's want to get out of the whole superhero game and try to live a normal life. And one of the things that I thought about when creating the series is like what true occupation that she could have, that where she could do heroic type stuff without using superpowers. So she's a SWAT team commander.
Wow.
For Angel Falls Police Department.
So she's not going to fit into a Prius, right?
Actually, she could because of her powers. That's because of her powers. It's like one of her inherent abilities, and she was taught this. She was actually taught to warp the space around her, where she could be less intimidating. So it's like people can see that she's 18 foot tall, but she's warping the space around her to make people feel more comfortable. That it's like, even though she's that big, it's like if need be, she could fit into a Prius or fit into like a average commuter bus and stuff to that magnitude. Only a few people could see the warping, and that comes out later on in the series. I haven't got that far into it. In that video, I actually was explaining how we came about to the 10th anniversary, but the other video below that, if you could scroll down here, Randy.
I can, just give me a sec here.
Yeah, this is the one that's the one that we actually did with all the artwork and interior artwork and everything.
Cool.
Oh wow. Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
And you can really tell that Joe is evolving as an artist and getting better with everything that he does.
Yeah, because that's my whole thing. It's like you have to grow. You have to get better as you go along here. I just recently did a live stream where I went through the evolution of how issue number 1 changed from the original 2008 edition to where we're at right now, and how the comic actually looks today. That I did about like a hour live stream showing people the original pages. I mean, if you don't mind, I could grab a couple of pages right now where I could show you what it originally like, what it looks in the
You're gonna need to be quick, Joe, because it's probably about time that we hit the old dusty trail here.
All right. So like one of the original pages from the original 2008 one was like this here. So I went from this here. That's I believe this is page 3 to this page 3 right here. And
oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Major difference here. So it's like you have to evolve in this industry, or else you're going to be left in the dust.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Awesome.
Joe, I thought you were going to say one of her superpowers was that she was really, really double jointed, flexible,
so she could just fold up in a Prius.
Yeah.
No, it's actually, like I said, I was actually thinking about that. And I was like, no, let's give her, the ability to warp space.
You can always explain it away like the atom in DC. You just compress the open space between the atoms and condense yourself.
But that's how he shrunk, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Ah,
You should shrink down in order to look 6 foot instead of 18. Stench says thanks for hanging and an applause for the guests. Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for making this episode of the Breakfast Buzz what it is. Michael, Oden, tell everybody how they can find you.
Hey guys, you can find me on Twitter at @ElysianFields_0. You can find me on Facebook at 9 Realms Publishing. And you can find us on Indiegogo Live on Elysian Fields, the Pyramid Gambit. We hope to see you guys on that backer list and get Scott Rosema's cover. Help boost his ego.
yes. Take it off my hands. I got enough room.
See, Scott, it's your built-in marketing campaign right there.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. John, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me on right on Kickstarter at with John the Animator Comics, and I've got like another 12 days to go, but only like $131 left to go on this here to get the funding. You can find me on Twitter at John Celestri at Celestri John, on YouTube John Celestri, and any place else where fine wines are sold.
So drinking is the success. Drinking is the key.
Fine wine.
Oh, man.
Okay.
We're already at fine wines. It's not even noon.
Fine wine.
No, it's Facebook and John Celestri. Just type my name in, and you'll find me there. But that's great.
I'm sure most of our radio audiences, it's time for wine.
Yeah. So, there you go.
Probably.
Joe, tell folks how they can get a hold of you.
You can get a hold of me via Facebook at Joe D. McPhee or on our company page, Exigency Studios. I could be found on DeviantArt up under Silverbolt 14. That's SILVERBOLT 14. I'm also up on Instagram up under Silverbolt. That's SILV as in Victor, B as in Baker, OLT. And our Kickstarter we have 10 days left. So, like I said, I'm trying to give away free stuff at this point. We hit our funding goal. We're trying to give away as much free stuff as possible.
The more backers, the more free stuff you get.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, how can they get a hold of you?
I'm hanging around my Facebook page a lot these days. Got lots of projects hanging, happening on my drawing table. But a lot of what I'm doing and or involved with, I talk about on Facebook or release some notices about. So just go to Scott Rosema on Facebook. That's where you can find me, and you can keep track of all of my shenanigans there.
Awesome. And I'm Randy Zimmerman. You can find me on Facebook under Randy Zimmerman. I also am on the Twitter. You can find me there as Randy Zim. I don't twit very often, but you can reach me over there if you have to. Other than that, I have the Zim Geek channel here on YouTube, ZIMMGEEK, where I teach cartooning instruction and talk about comics every once in a while, and I'm way overdue on getting another video up there. And as far as IndieVolt goes, you can always listen to IndieVolt on IndieVolt through indievolt.com on IndieVolt Radio. There's an app available on the Google Play Store and through the Streama. You can get an app there. And if you ask Alexa nicely to play IndieVolt Radio, she might actually know what you're talking about and do so for you. We also have a IndieVolt TV channel available on the Roku, where we play some of the videos that we record here for our podcast, as well as some great wrestling and movies.
Excellent.
Somebody was saying, what? No.
I'm saying that was great.
So check that out on the Roku channel. That's IndieVolt TV. We are always interested in your feedback and comments. Please send those in to IndieVolt Live at indievolt.com. Please include IndieVolt Live in the subject line, or you can put Breakfast Buzz in there too if you'd like. Just please keep those emails to 90 words or less so that we might be able to someday type them on a card and actually discuss them. We will cover every comment that we can get our our hands on, usually on the Tuesday night broadcast. We are the Indie Volt Live podcast is usually Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. That's Eastern time. Then we have on Wednesdays, the Indie Princess pops in whenever she can and does Geekgasm. That's comics from a mostly female perspective.
Whoa.
On Indie Volt on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. We have the Breakfast Buzz here at 9 a.m. And again, all of these times are Eastern. And then we also run a Sunday show at 9 a.m. called the Sunday Funnies, where we talk about the lighter and more whimsical side of comics. So we hope you've enjoyed the broadcast. We are going to scoot on out of here. We have one last minute comment from Glenn. Says, thanks for another great show. Thank you so much, Glenn, for listening. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you get a chance, get over to that Indie Volt YouTube channel, hit that like button, hit that bell for notifications. Please subscribe to that channel. We really want to take on the extra burden of wanting to make sure we are safe for YouTube censors.
Yes.
And become monetized and are able to take on super chats one of these days. So please go over there and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I believe that's it for today. Any last words, anybody?
Yeah, I'll be back as long as you don't have Michael Oden on at the same time.
There we go.
You're a treat. Anyway.
In the meantime,
I think next time, if I know that John the Animator is going to be on, I will keep my questions specifically to just a few topics and not dominate the airwaves, because God knows I'll do that.
I think everyone will tell you
there will be no education.
that you were fine. Yeah, that's how we all get educated. So
okay,
do send those questions and comments, and we love getting the feedback from you. And take care. And in the meantime, we have to ask the question: what's your favorite Marvel character?
And who's your favorite Marvel Comics hero? Mine is Superman. Remember the motto? With great power comes great responsibility.
Oh no! Oh, that's horrible.
So, folks, take care. Be safe. Please be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you later.
See ya.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Yay! Think about what you've accomplished.
How can you close me up? On what ground? I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here. You're winning, sir. Oh, thank you very much. Everybody.